Hi, this is Dominic from Paphos Life, and in today's film we're driving from Ineia down to Lara Bay. And note first of all that we turned left before you get to the main square of Ineia, because we're going down the new route. It'll take us all the way to Lara Bay. Just avoiding the cars. And it's recently been resurfaced, and I think it looks pretty damn good at the moment here. So let's have the map. We'll start with the entire area, and now we'll overlay the full route. But we're going to zoom in so we can show you how to get through Ineia, because you see we're taking the turn before the main area and driving down the newly renovated bit. You'll eventually come to a T-junction where you have to turn right, and after that it's all plain sailing down to the main coast road. From there are numerous routes to take. We took a long route just to show you all the options. Now, I don't know if the plan is that the whole of the road that goes down to Lara Bay will eventually be like this, but if it is, then I'm pretty impressed, I have to say, because there have been talks for years about renovating the road system in Lara Bay and the Akamas as a whole, and if they're done to this standard, then I don't think there'll be much to worry about, because it looks completely in keeping with the surrounding area. And it was a pleasure to drive along. There's an ancient chapel that's been renovated a bit on the left there. I actually visited this area a couple of months ago, and it's come on along since then even. Yep, so whether the road is going to be like this all the way down, I don't know. But if it is, then I think it'll be good. There's another interesting there's a water feature on the left, but there's something on the ahead where I don't know what it is. You'll see it soon. It may just be, if you like, a little monument to the start of the stream, which becomes the river that goes through the Avakas Gorge. So if you want to walk the entire length of the gorge, this would be where you start from. This is the little structure they got here. I can't think what else that might be. That's my guess. Excuse the motorbike going past in the audio, that is. Now if you go right there, it takes you to the other road that comes down from Ineia, which is the more traditional route to get to Lara Bay, because both roads had been closed while they were being renovated, and the previous route that we featured had you going through Ineia first and then turning left on a dirt track. But that is now no longer the necessary route. You can come this way. So we'll go right here. Weather-wise, as you can tell, it's a bit cloudy at the moment. This was filmed Saturday, April the 4th, just before Easter. And I know the clouds heralded a storm, which meant that Paya Sunday market was closed. My wife was going to have a stall there. There's a goat herd there who waved to us. Now, the road here, it hasn't been renovated yet, but hopefully it will be. It is doable, this route, by all vehicles, at least down till you get to the main coast road that goes to Lara Bay. After that, it's a bit questionable. You'd have to ask your car hire person if that's a suitable route. And remember, if you like our content, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, as it really does help YouTube promote us. And if you want to help us financially, then go to our paphoslife.com/coffee page, and you can either send us a coffee or click on one of the affiliate links. In terms of scenery, all the green fields that we had over winter and spring are now turning brown due to the increasing temperature and lack of rainfall. Happens every year. It always takes me a bit by surprise though. It's interesting. I mean, this is going to be a fairly long film. I think it's over 20 minutes long, driving through some repetitive countryside. So I'm not going to describe every bush along the way. But what I will talk about in general is the Akamas Plan itself. Basically, from what I read, they want to build an improved road network, which I can go along with. I mean, I've been to Cape Greco, for instance, in the east of Cyprus, and it's not as big as the Akamas by any means, but it's still a wilderness, but it does have some decent roads going through it. And it hasn't resulted in the entire area being trashed by any stretch of the imagination. But it has meant that more people can visit the area without relying on a buggy or a boat trip, for instance. But what it does also show is that the areas like this aren't as popular as the main coastal beach areas, just purely and simply because more people, when they come away on holiday, they just want to sit on a beach or stuff like that, or visit the archaeological sites and things like that. So while the environmentalists are afraid that if you open up the Akamas with a better road network, it's just going to destroy it, I don't think they've got too much to worry about on that front, because I don't think they're going to be such a huge influx of tourists anyway. And I'm not saying that because I don't think it's worth coming to see. Personally, I love the Akamas, and we drive over it all the time. But just going on the popularity of films I publish and articles I've published regarding the Akamas or other countryside areas, Troodos even, they just aren't as popular. We don't get as many views, etc., as features on the beaches or the archaeological park and stuff like that. And personally, I think that's a shame, because I think a lot of people are missing out. And perhaps with an increased, more accessible road network, more people will come to the Akamas and appreciate it more. And it won't necessarily be the ruination of it. But before that can happen, they need to renovate a lot of road areas. Because while up here, this is the one route that's always been like the best way to come if you're in a standard car. And it's not that bad to drive on. I mean, it's no worse than an awful lot of country roads that you'll get in the UK, for instance. But the main road that goes from Lara Bay to Avakas Gorge, which you'll see in another film, because we filmed that as well, that is a lot more bumpy and unsuitable for a lot of... I mean, you'll see all sorts of cars on it, but it's not really designed for them. And if you're in a hire car, your insurance probably won't be covered. But yes, I love the countryside around here. I mean, you can park up anywhere and just go for a wander, and you can wander for hours. Just bring some water, plenty of water. Basically, bring water, and however much you've allowed for, then double that amount, and you should have enough. And I've flown the drone around here as well, and I've had some lovely footage, but it just doesn't get the views that other places do. So I'm always a little bit surprised when I hear plans about people wanting to develop the beach next to Lara, etc. or build loads of hotels up at Ineia and Drusia, because personally, and I'm not saying this isn't an opinion as such, it's more of an observation based on our viewing figures. There isn't the appeal that they think they have. And you may ask, why am I bothering to make this film? Well, I could just do films of the Paphos seafront all the time, but personally I would find that very boring to make, and eventually I think you'd find it boring seeing the same thing all the time. I like to have a bit of variety. Anyway, on with the drive. Quite a lot of the area we're driving through at the moment is farmland. You can see some of the buildings over there. And you will find also the occasional little chapel. And they don't tend to get used like every week. A lot of them will be dedicated to a certain saint. And we'll have there'll be one mass a year there on the saint day. That sort of thing. They often get built by some local who's either lost a loved one or they've had an accident and they've been found and returned to safety, and they build a little chapel or a shrine in order to say thank you. It's quite nice. You hear the road definitely could do with a bit of renovation if they are thinking of having buses and coaches drive down it. Yeah, going back to the Akamas Plan, the only thing that concerned me was that I read somewhere that one of the options was to ban private cars, so that the only way you could get around would be either, bizarrely they weren't banning ATVs, which to be quite honest this amazed me, because I would have thought ATVs would do far more damage. But it was private cars. I haven't seen it mentioned for a while, so whether it's still on the cards, I don't know. But and it was going to be like you'd get there via buses, and I didn't like that idea because, well, we have a private car when we go driving here. That's what we use, and we can go wherever we want to, right, roads permitting, of course. And the idea of having to go to designated bus stops, quite honestly, fills me with horror. I wouldn't want to do that, because the whole point about being on the Akamas is that you can go and just explore and, if you like, commune with nature, whatever you want to call it. And if you're relying on a bus route and a schedule, that kind of goes out the window. So, hopefully, in the dim and distant future, when all this is finished, you will still be able to get in your own car and drive down it. I mean, otherwise, what's the bloody point? Sorry. But in the distance now, you can see the sea obviously, but also that's where Lara Bay is. There's an interesting area of countryside to the right. I did fly the drone over it to see if I could find, because one of the things I'm always on the lookout for is mysterious new gorges and stuff like that. But I think there was just some interesting rock formations rather than actual gorges. We get a nicer view of the Lara Bay area. Now, in terms of traffic, during peak times, the worst thing you can come across is a convoy of ATVs of about 20 or more. Partly because it'll take them a while to get past you if you're stopped, but also because of the amount of dust that raises. But other than that, you'll mainly meet Jeep safaris, and if it's a bank holiday, there could be a steady flow of local Cypriots driving down to enjoy one of the beaches. Because there are little bays here, and you've got Lara Bay as an obvious one, but there are lots of much smaller ones as well, tucked away, popular with fishermen and things like that as well. Got more farmland on the right. And there are a few goat farms dotted around as well. It's especially visible on some of the plateaus towards Avakas end. There's some hay bales there. And obviously when it is busier time, you drive sensibly and nice and slowly so that you don't crash into someone coming the opposite way. Here's an ATV as we speak. Imagine 20 of them going past in a row, what the dust would be like. Right, now we come down to the actual coast road. I wasn't sure which way to go here to start with. So hopefully when they've finished all the work, they'll be erecting some signs. Now, I'm not sure how much work they've done down here yet. I know they've done a fair amount up near White River Beach. They seem to build a better bridge here. I have memories about this road used to be a lot bumpier. But presumably, at some point, they're going to be laying down tarmac. And one thing I did notice is that they seem to have dug down quite a lot. And this has the effect, I mean, it's not so noticeable with the camera that's on the roof of the car, but if you're in the car itself, you can't see much here because you're just looking at a wall. So whether that's been dug down with a view of sticking down lots of hardcore and then laying some tarmac down, I don't know. But it does kind of disrupt your enjoyment of the drive if all you're looking at is just dirt wall. And the road here is still pretty bumpy, even though they have just like dug it down. A lot of the bumps will be caused because when it rains in the winter time, you'll then have vehicles driving through the rain, which will then create little rivulets and little ridges basically, which then dry out, and you just basically get a bumpy road like this as a result. And from here in, there are lots of turnings on the left and pretty much zero signages. So what I did, I drove down the main road to the far end of Lara Bay and then came back. But for instance, you could have gone down left there, I believe, to get to the eastern end of Lara Bay. But yes, they don't seem to have done that much at this end. A few more ATVs and the corresponding dust. Yes, this is the section where I was saying you should check with your car hire people if you rented a car that it's okay for you to drive on. There's another major turning on the left, which would probably take you to Lara Bay, because it's a bit of a maze on the left in terms of roads, and during winter time especially it can get very muddy. I definitely wouldn't advise coming here then if you're in a hire car. Because believe me, it's no fun at all getting stuck in the mud, especially this far away from civilization. Fairly soon we'll be getting to a turning. See the bonnet coming up there, it shows you how bumpy it is. And I was contemplating going left there, but I'm waiting because I know in the past that there's a big sign that you can use as a reference. Because there are two main parking areas for Lara Bay. The one we're going to first is where the, I don't know if it's still there now that they got the museum up in Ineia, but there's like a little showroom. There's the, I say sign, okay, it's a big square. But we're going this way to get to Lara Bay. Yeah, it's information centre on the turtles. Whether it has been replaced by or complements the Turtle Museum in India, I don't know. But this is how we get there. Yeah, so there's this end, which is the western end of Lara Bay, and the eastern end is just a place to park, and you can walk down to the beach from there. And if you do go for a swim here, don't bring umbrellas and pets and stuff, because it is a turtle sanctuary, and there are signs up saying not to bring them. So I thought if I tell you that now, then you won't make the mistake of bringing them and then realising you can't use them. As you probably noticed, there are a fair number of trails going off to the left and right. I tended to just follow the one that had the most tyre tracks on it. And we're just about there now. A few more bumps to negotiate. I don't know whether these roads are going to be improved. You'd think so, at least one of them would be in the Akamas Plan, to give people easier access to the bay. And I guess that could be an issue if that's not properly policed. I mean, the bay could get abused, people leaving rubbish and well, ignoring the sign saying no parasols and barbecues, etc. But here's the main car park. It's not a very big one, but from there you can get to the information centre, and we'll see you in the next film.